Amit sir, you are the host now.
Yeah, thank you so much. Just give me a second.
Yeah, sure. Thanks.
Okay, shall we start?
Yeah, sir. Good to go. We can start.
Okay, okay. I'm sharing my screen now. All right. Okay, first of all, welcome guys. This is Linux class. Basically, we will be learning Red Hat Linux, and I will be making you, learn all the concepts of Linux. Also, this class will also serve as the, training for the Red Hat certification. Okay, so you can easily crack any, not any, the first exam, Rhcsa exam. Okay, so it will be easy for you to give the exam and score the passing marks, obviously. And yes, after after the course, we're going to learn about automation as well. So I will show you all the table of contents. Okay, and we will discuss each points. Like we have so many points here to learn in this course, and it will be a approximately 50 hours course in which we will learn the complete Linux fundamentals of Linux. Second, we are going to learn the automation part. Okay, like you can see at the end, shell script, Ansible automation. Okay, so this is what I have added personally in this course so that when you apply for the jobs, you will have two more bullet points or two more skills to showcase: shell scripts and Ansible automation, right? So I will go through all of these details one by one. Okay, let me first introduce you all to myself. Okay, my name is Amit, and I have approximately 12 years of industry experience. And I've been, I started my career as a, we can say, programmer. Okay, I was into web development, and within like 1 year I changed to Linux, and then I started as a Linux administrator. Okay, and slowly I moved into automation. Okay, so I have managed approximately 3000 plus Linux servers which are live. Live means which are actually working. One example of live server, when you type, let's say, facebook.com, and you get the website opened, or maybe your app starts. Okay, you can log into the Facebook application. So that data is coming from the live servers, right? So the whatever data you are getting on your browser, on your phone, everything is coming from the live servers. So I have basically managed in my career approximately 3000 live servers, not parallelly, obviously, one by one. Maybe there was some automation activity, maybe there was some, troubleshooting which I have to do, like that. All right. And I am also certified in Red Hat related certifications, like Rhcsa and Rhce. So basically, this course is for the preparation of Rhcsa. Rhcsa means Red Hat Certified System Administrator. Who is Red Hat? I will explain you in the upcoming slide. So Red Hat Certified System Administrator, and once you clear Rhcsa, you are eligible for Rhce, and Rhce is Red Hat Certified Engineer. Okay, so the person who is Rhce will be able to perform automation. Okay, so Rhce is bit advanced. You need to learn complete automation with complete Linux. Okay, and again, together it's like 100 hours of course. Okay, so Rhce is 50 hours, Rhcsa is 50 hours, like that. All right, so let me reiterate. We are going to learn Rhcsa. This is the preparation for Rhcsa, and it will be a 50 hours course. Okay, so yeah, so let me tell you the table of contents. Then we will move on to what is Linux. Why are you actually here in this class? Okay, why do you want to learn Linux? What are the benefits, like that? Okay, so in the end of the session, we will discuss about the exam pattern, right? What is the pattern of the exam?
So I don't reason them.
Okay, so what is the pattern of the exam, and how to practice exam, stuff like that. All right, so yeah, so this is the course content that we are going to follow, and yeah, so this is all from the Rhcsa. Okay, so these are this course content or table of content for Rhcsa. First of all, we are going to understand the basic commands which are used in Linux operating system. Okay, then how to manage user management. Then third is configure local storage, which means like you have a hard disk on a server and you need to create some partitions. So you can easily create partitions, you can easily manage multiple hard disks with this topic, with this configure local storage topic. Then create and configure systems, file systems like I hope you might have formatted a pen drive in the past. Okay, like when you format a pen drive, the data is gone. Basically, formatting is reapplying a new file system. In Windows, it is like NTFS, FAT32, right? Similarly, in Linux, there are some file systems. So we are going to learn about those file systems, when to use what, and it's like very easy, just 2 commands, but fundamentally we need to know everything. Operate running systems, for example, process management. Okay, this is the one main part in running systems, operate running systems topic. Process management, how to identify the CPU usage. Okay, is your CPU usage going 90%, 100%, like that? So we need to track that. Just a second. Yeah. Okay, and how to tune your server for performance. Okay, or we can say manage tuning profiles. So there are several profiles available which you can set on a server. Okay, so all those things we will check in this topic. Next is deploy, configure, and maintain systems, which simply means installing something, removing something, update your operating system, like that. And we will also check web server, NFS server, like that. Next, manage basic networking. Obviously, we need to set IP address and all the other details when we are working on a server. So how to do it? It's very easy. Okay, and with this, we are also going to learn about firewall. Firewall is what? It is used to filter network traffic. So in Red Hat Linux operating system, we have a software-based firewall, and with the help of commands, we can manage it. Next is manage security. In Linux, there are 2 important modules which are called firewall and SE Linux. SE Linux means security enhanced Linux. Okay, so these are 2 different softwares which work inside the operating system and which make the operating system more secure. We are going to learn about these 2 systems. Okay, and next is managing containers. Again, container is also a very good topic when it comes to DevOps. Containers is a must. Okay, so with Linux, you are also going to learn containers. Okay, and all the fundamentals as well. Okay, so the course content officially ends here till managing containers. But from my side, I have added 2 more topics. The first one is create simple shell script. Shell script is a kind of a code which you are going to make for your own use. Okay, let's say you need to connect to 100 servers and update them. So normal procedure is log into server number 1, update, log into server number 2, update, right? This will take maybe 2 days, maybe 3 days. But with the help of shell script, you can automate this. You need not to log in anywhere. Your shell script will do all your job. Okay. So this is create shell scripts topic. Next is Ansible automation. To be able to build a shell script, to create a shell script, you need to have a certain level of programming skills, not advanced, maybe beginner. Okay, you need to have understanding of variable, you need to have understanding of how things work in a program, like that, for loops, if statement, like that. Okay, but it gets complex for the non-programming background people, right? So for that, there is another tool from Red Hat. It is called Ansible. Again, it is used for the same purpose, for automation. Although it is more simpler, you need not to have any programming skills. You just need to remember the Ansible rules. There are some rules. Okay, just remember those rules. That's it. Obviously, we are going to touch. And see, if you dedicatedly learn shell script, it takes 25 hours to learn shell script. Okay, and if you dedicatedly learn Ansible automation, it will take 50 hours. So what I have done is I have prepared the course in a way that within like 2 days or maybe 3 days, you will be able to learn shell scripts, maybe 3 classes, and within like 2 or 3 classes, you will be able to learn Ansible automation. Okay, please keep in mind, it is not the complete course. I am just introducing you all to these automation techniques, so that's it's a starting, it acts as a starting point for you all. Okay, officially it's not part of Rhcsa. If you don't want to learn this, it's okay, but it will be in your favor if you learn this. Okay, so you can mention shell script and Ansible automation in your CV as well. Okay, add it as a skill in your online job portals. Okay, so this is not the complete course, but I'll tell you like how to install Ansible, how to configure it, and how to start your automation. We will discuss multiple automation scenarios, practical ones. Okay, in both the cases. Okay, so any questions till now? You can unmute yourself and ask.
So just a question.
Yes.
You said about SE Linux.
Yes.
So what is SUSE Linux and SE Linux?
Okay, so SUSE Linux is an operating system. All right.
Okay.
Let me write it here. So you're talking about SUSE Linux, right?
Right.
So SUSE Linux is an operating system, but when OS, but when we say SE Linux, it is a security module. Okay.
Okay. So is it a package?
Yeah, we can say it's an application. Yes, it's a package.
Okay.
Yeah. So SE Linux is available in Red Hat Linux, not in SUSE Linux. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Hello.
Yes. Yes. Hi.
So what is Fedro and Debian? What are they?
Okay. Yeah. Let me tell you everything. Basically, I was coming to that part only. Okay. So I'll cover your question in this slide. All right. So the next slide is like, what is Linux? So right now I'm going to tell you about 2 things. Number 1 is Linux. Okay, what is Linux? And then what is Red Hat Linux? And then again, what is Fedora? And let's say Ubuntu, or maybe Kali. Okay, so there are so many Linux versions available. What are those? Okay, let's start with this Linux term first. So Linux is just another operating system in the market. Okay. This is a kind of a hobby operating system or a hobby project of Linus Torvalds. Okay, so Linus Torvalds is the man behind Linux operating system. So, back in the days when Linus Torvalds was in college, he's actually a programmer. When he was in college learning programming, So he decided to, create his own version of operating system. Okay. At that time, Unix operating system was very popular. Unix. It was created by AT&T. Okay. It was created by AT&T, and it was very popular operating system. It was based on C language. All right. So it was very efficient. It was most in the demand was very high for this operating system. So at that time, since Unix was very popular, so Linus Torvalds thought of creating his own version of Unix operating system. We can say the clone of Unix. Okay. So he knew that it is based on C language, and he was also well aware about C language, how to use it, how to create programs like that. So after learning the fundamentals of operating system, he started with his project and gave the name Linux, Linux. Okay. Lin from his first name, Linus, and UX from the first two alphabets of Unix. Okay. So Linux becomes, this is how Linux word is, added to this operating system name. So Linux operating system, again, it is just a hobby project, an open source hobby project of Linus Torvalds. So now what is open source? Open source means you as a developer, you can have full access to the source code.
Hello.
Yes.
Sorry, sir. What is AT&T?
AT&T is a very big company.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. So yeah. Linux, I just said like Linux is a open source operating system. The meaning of open source is anyone can access the source code of this operating system. Source code means the program files. Okay. And download the source code, modify the source code, and redistribute the operating system with a different name. Okay. So like Ubuntu did. Ubuntu downloaded the source code of Linux. Okay. Let's say Ubuntu. So download the source code. Okay. Make some modifications, modify, and then redistribute. Redistribute by a different name, and the name they choose is Ubuntu. Okay. So this is how in the market you see so many versions of Linux: Ubuntu Linux, Kali Linux, Mint Linux, Fedora Linux, like that. Okay. Similarly, there is a company called Red Hat. They also did the same. Red Hat downloaded the source code, modified it, and redistributed it with a different name. And the name they choose is Red Hat Enterprise Linux. Okay. So in short, we say it is RHEL, Red Hat Enterprise Linux. So we are going to learn Red Hat Enterprise Linux operating system. Okay. And Red Hat is a very big firm. They started with this Linux operating system, RHEL, and now they have so many softwares in their kitty. They have their own product. Another very famous product is called OpenShift. And then there is OpenStack. Okay. And then JBoss. So all these applications are used by the industry, and Red Hat is is following a subscription based model, which means you don't have to pay for the software, you just have to pay for the support. Support means, let's say your company is using RHEL operating system, the latest version is 8, we are also going to learn 8. Okay. So let's say your company is using Red Hat Linux operating system version 8, and there is some problem. The Linux administrators are not able to correct it, are not able to fix it. Then your company can directly contact Red Hat, and someone expert from Red Hat can be assigned to your problem, and within like 4 hours or 2 hours, the problem will be resolved. Okay. So Red Hat is charging for this service. This is called support. So Red Hat says, get the software for free, get the operating system for free, but pay us for the support and timely updates. Okay. So for updates, yes, Red Hat has a dedicated team of developers. They work 24 hours, 24/7 on the, fixing the security loopholes if there are any, providing the latest updates like that. Okay, so it's a subscription based model, and this is how they're earning money. And if we talk about the visibility of, or we can say the market share of Red Hat operating system, you will see in any company you join, even if it is a service based or if it is a product based. So any company you join, you will see that they are using some or the other Red Hat product. Okay, maybe Red Hat Linux operating system, maybe OpenShift, maybe OpenStack, maybe JBoss, like that. Okay, and when it comes to operating system, most of the companies, big companies, are using Red Hat Linux as their operating system. For example, Facebook, Google, even NASA. Even NASA also prefers Red Hat Linux instead of Windows or any other operating system. Yes, there is also 𝐊𝐤𝐳 in the market. 𝐊𝐤𝐳 basically is used for SAP applications. If in your company, if your company is using SAP database, SAP application, then they will prefer 𝐊𝐳 Linux for the SAP installation and configuration. Okay, so Linux is just another operating system. Just like you have a phone in your hand. Maybe it is Android, maybe it is iPhone. Okay, so your Android is what? Based on Linux. Again, iOS, your operating system in iPhone, iOS, it is also based on Linux. Okay, so everything which we are dealing with right now is some way or the other based on Linux. All right, so let me show you online. If you want to download the source code, how you can download and check it out.
Hello.
Yes.
Sir, what is UIX and AIX?
What is UIX and AIX? Hello?
Hello.
See, yeah.
Yes.
Are you talking about these two, UIX and AIX?
Yes. Yes.
I'm not sure what is UIX, but AIX is a Linux-based operating system. Okay, Linux-based operating system developed by IBM, and it is not in use now. They have stopped the development. Okay.
Okay.
So AIX is again a Linux-based operating system. It was developed by IBM. Functioning, commands are very different from normal Linux operating system. Things are different in AIX. Okay.
Okay.
So let's say if you want to see the source code of Linux operating system, you can just go to google.com and type Linux kernel source code. Linux kernel source code. What is kernel? Kernel is the software which is responsible for communicating with the hardware. Okay, kernel software talks to the hardware. You can see your phone also. Just go to just open the settings of your phone. Okay, maybe iPhone, maybe Android, any. Just go to the settings of your phone, and if you're using an Android phone, just go to like about device, like that, and there you will see something like version, and in version you will see the build number, baseband, kernel version. So there is a kernel software in your phone as well. In iPhones also, go to about, and then you will see all the versions, right? So kernel is that software which talks to the hardware, and it is very important. Okay, so Linus Torvalds first of all developed a kernel, and this is the source code of kernel. The first link, you see Torvalds/Linux, and this is how he looks. Yeah, so he is Linus Torvalds. Okay, so these are the files of the kernel source code. And if you see, let me open some files. Let's say the drivers. I've just opened a random file, and you can see it's based on C language. These are all header files, hash include, some file name, and then this might be a class or a function. Okay. All right. So this is all programming. This is all C++ programming. All right. So this is the source.
Sir, sorry to interrupt you.
Yeah.
Sir, actually, I want to know exactly what is the need of source code, sir?
What is the need of source code?
Yes.
let's say you are running a command. Okay. Let me give you a live example. Hold on. I type ls command here. Okay. And I'm getting some output. All right. So first of all, what is happening inside this ls command? Or maybe you want to modify something in this ls command. For that, you need to have the source code file, the original file which contains the code. Okay. The code may be based on C language, maybe Python language, whatever it is. Okay. So basically the ls command here is the executable file. If you have by chance learned C language, there are basically two things. One is the source code, and then another one is the executable code, executable file, let's say that. Okay. So source code is the main file where you create the code. Okay. Let's say you created a file by the name test.c. Okay. And inside test.c, you create a program. For example, hash include. This is a C program I'm typing. Okay. And then let's say I'm starting a function, and then printf, let's say some message, maybe welcome. Okay. So this is a small program. This is the source code. When I compile this program, I will get the executable file. Let's say the file name is test. Now I can use this test file to execute this program. Okay. So when you open this test file, you will see nothing inside. There will be unreadable text. But if you have the source code, you can modify, you can add few more code lines. Okay. And then recompile it. You will get the updated test file. So this is the source code. And this is the same thing which I just opened this file. I opened some file here. Let me.
So, sir, in Linux, ls, let's say ls command is the executable file command.
Yes, correct. It's the executable file, which is
Correct.
ls, and many other commands.
Right,
All
right.
those are executables. You will never get the source code. When you install the operating system, you're installing the executable files. But if you want to modify something in the operating system, you have to download this Linux project. Just click on code, download zip, and then you can modify it. Just remember, creating an operating system is a team. It's a teamwork. You need at least 50 to 100 people working non-stop on a project. It's not a single man's work, right?
Right. So, I mean, we can also download the source code
Yeah,
and modify it and publish it as our operating system distribution. Or something.
Yes, you can do it, but for that you need to know so many things.
Correct.
You need to know how the operating system works, what is process scheduling, what are file systems, how the data is, how kernel works, all those things.
Right.
All right. So yes, it is doable. And let me show you something. How many contributors do you see here? Almost more than 13,000. So more than 13,000 people are working on this project. Okay. So they are actually saving and updating some files. As you can see, 22 hours ago, something happened on this documentation folder. 21 hours ago, something was saved in this arc folder. So, as I say, it's, constant development. People are constantly fixing the code or adding new features like that. Okay. And the same project, the same code is used by Red Hat, Ubuntu, SUSE, Fedora, everyone. Okay. So this is how the operating system updates are fetched. So this is the step one. Second step is like, if Red Hat has, created some new functionality, so they will be working on that functionality. All right.
So let me quickly recap. So generally, a source code is a need of modify something, right? To
Yes,
modify,
it is required when you need to modify.
modify. Only for that we need you need to use the source code.
Correct.
Right?
Correct.
Okay, sir. Thank you so much.
Yeah. Okay. So this is how Linux evolved, and in the market you will see so many Linux versions. Like I just told you about Red Hat Linux. Okay, we are going to learn Red Hat, obviously. Then there is Fedora. There is also CentOS. Then there is Ubuntu, Kali, SUSE. So many we call them distributions. So many distributions are there. There is another word, flavor. Okay, what flavor of Linux are you using, or are we studying? We are going to study Red Hat Linux. Okay. All right. So now let me tell you more things about these operating systems. Fedora is also based on Linux. Again, it's a Linux operating system. It is managed by Red Hat only. And what is the use of a Fedora operating system? It is the test operating system. Okay. It's a test operating system, which means whenever there is an update, on Red Hat Linux, those updates are first tested on Fedora. Okay. When everything goes well, if the test is okay, then the second level of testing is done on CentOS. Okay. This is also a test operating system. All right. So this is also a test operating system. When everything is okay on CentOS, then what? Then finally, the updates are published to Red Hat Linux. And this is how the cycle goes on. Okay. Even if it is a small update or a very big enhancement update. So everything has to follow this rule. First test on Fedora, then on CentOS, and then on Red Hat, main Red Hat Linux. CentOS is also managed by Red Hat. All right.
Sir,
So-
you said, right, sorry to interrupt, Fedora and CentOS is for testing purpose,
Yeah,
right?
correct.
So what is the difference between two of them? Because any one you can use for testing, right?
The first one will be unstable operating system. We can say Fedora is the most unstable operating system because it contains the most number of bugs.
Okay.
Since it is the level 1 testing operating system, the first level of testing is happening here. Okay, we can say level 1. Okay, and then CentOS is the level 2. And then finally, it is published on Red Hat. Okay, so Fedora is the most unstable operating system. See, you are learning Linux, you are freshers, you have a freedom. You can choose CentOS to install, or maybe Fedora, or maybe Red Hat. It's okay. But I would say do not use Fedora because it may contain bugs. You won't be able to run it properly. It may crash, it may reboot again and again, like that. Okay. So since it is unstable, it is not recommended for learning also. But when it comes to learning, you can use CentOS. It is free to download, free to use. Fedora also free to download, free to use. And Red Hat Linux, this is subscription based. You can download it for free. Okay, you can download it for free. But if you want to get timely updates, then what? Then you have to pay for the updates. But we are students. How will we pay? So for that, there is a registration process which is called developer registration, or we can say developer account. Okay, so sign up as a developer. I will teach you tomorrow, not tomorrow, in the next class. I will teach you in the next class how to create a developer account and get 1 year free subscription. And I think 1 year is more than enough. Okay, so you will get 1 year free subscription. You can use Red Hat Linux. You can enjoy the latest updates. And within, like, see, the course is 50 hours, 1 hour a day. So technically, we are going to use 3 months. So after 3 months, you will have ample amount of time to practice. Okay. So 1 year again. Acha, what after 1 year? If you still want to practice, then you can renew. It is just one click away. Click renew. Again, you get 1 more year for free. Okay. So this is the developer account, which you get for free for study purpose or testing purpose. You want to test the operating system, or you want to study Rhcsa, Rhce, like that. Any other question?
No, sir, you can
In
proceed.
yeah, go on.
Yeah, please. Yeah, tell me.
So in CentOS, there are two operating systems, like I've gone through CentOS Stream and CentOS. So
Yeah,
which-
correct. So in CentOS, there used to be 2 operating systems, CentOS and CentOS Stream. The difference is like this. This CentOS Stream is the new one. What about the old one, the old CentOS? So this CentOS used to be a stable operating system. Companies used to install CentOS on their servers and use it since it was free to use, free updates, everything was free. So most of the startups companies preferred CentOS. But now, maybe 6 or 8 months back, Red Hat has announced they are stopping the development of this CentOS operating system. No more updates will be there. So this is like end of life now. End of life, EOL. It is not in use. If you use CentOS operating system, you will be using the old version. The updates, you will not receive any update, and the chances of vulnerabilities will be really high. Okay, so again, in the companies, it's not recommended to use flawed operating system, or we can say operating system with multiple vulnerabilities. Okay, we don't need security loopholes. Acha, then what is CentOS stream? So Red Hat says we are stopping the development of the CentOS. Okay, it is end of life. Now they are introducing CentOS stream. This is the testing stream, testing platform. So level 2 testing is being done over here. It is not that stable, but it contains less number of bugs. Okay, it contains less number of bugs as compared to Fedora. That's why I said you can use CentOS stream for practice, but I recommend using Red Hat Linux, because ultimately in the companies, you will be using Red Hat Linux. You have to run commands on Red Hat Linux. Okay. Yeah. Someone is asking, what is the backend of Linux? Can you please explain your question? I mean, I didn't get that. The backend of Linux.
Hello.
Mean? Yes.
Hello.
Yeah. Hi.
Hello.
Yes. Yes. You're audible.
Yes. I'm asking, what is the back end of Linux?
Could you please explain what do you mean by backend?
Backend, which is how to use it in the efficient way.
Okay. So how to use it? All right. See, when we want to connect to Linux operating system, we have two ways.
Yes.
One is the command line interface. Like this is the Windows terminal application. Okay. This black screen is the Windows terminal application, and you can use SSH command to connect to your Linux server, which I will teach you obviously when the time comes. Second way is directly log into the system. For example, let me open a software which is called VMware. I use VMware to create virtual machines. Okay. So I have created a virtual machine in my Windows operating system, and this virtual machine is Red Hat Linux. So let me start this machine. So once you start it, you will see all the graphics and you can start working on the machine. All right. Things are different in the companies. We don't get the GUI of the operating system. We cannot log in like this. We have to use the first option, SSH. Okay, let the machine start. Then I will give you both the examples. So as you can see, the machine is starting right now.
Sir, also explain in short how virtual machine.
Yes. I'll tell you how to create a virtual machine. It is very important for this course. So I have logged into the operating system.
So I can create two VMs, and on one I can install CentOS and other Rhcsa.
Yes, you can do it. Yeah, absolutely. All right. So this is how operating system Red Hat Linux looks like. You have a wallpaper, okay, and you have a desktop icons. Right now, icons are missing right now, so I can get them back if I want to. But this is how it looks like. On the top left, you see activities. If you click activities, you get a dock, a side dock. Some applications are already pinned here on this dock. If you click show applications, these all applications are inside my operating system by default. Okay, Firefox browser, files means the Explorer, files Explorer, like this. Okay. All right. In the center, you see a calendar and notification area. On the extreme right, you have the volume.
Sir, sorry to interrupt you.
Yes.
You said before when you log into the Linux, like Windows, we do not have a username and password, right? So you use a command called SSH. That is right? That is how you log into Linux, right?
Right.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
So I'll explain you how to use SSH. Just hold on. So I'm just giving you a walkthrough of what is there inside Linux when you log in for the first time. Okay. All right. So on the extreme right, you see some volume controls. You see the wired. Wired means this is the network. If you select turn off, the network will be disconnected. Student, which is the user, you can log out. You can switch user like that. And then there are 3 more buttons. One is settings, one is a lock screen, then power off and restart. Okay. So this is the one way. This is one way of logging into the operating system. The other way, or the real way, how to log into the system is using SSH. First of all, let me get the IP address of this machine. So I'm going into the settings and checking the IP. It says 192.168.211.129. All right. Let me minimize this screen. Now I'm inside terminal of Windows. So 192.168.211.129. This is the IP. Okay. And I need to use a username as well. The username is here. I will use a student. So if the complete command becomes SSH space student @ the IP address of the machine. So let me press enter and see what happens. So it says, are you sure you want to continue connecting? Yes. What is the password for student user? So I have set Red Hat as the password. And that's it. I logged into my virtual machine from Windows. And this is how you're going to work in the companies as well. You're going to use SSH, and SSH can be used from this terminal application, PowerShell application, or there is another application called Putty. Okay, you might have seen this Putty application, right? Putty application is also a SSH client, and it works the same way. Like just type the username @ IP address. All right, and click open.
So, sir, yes, sir.
Yes. And give the password. Yeah. Yes, yes.
Hello?
Yes, yes. I'm listening.
So, sir, according to your experience, what is the most platform used in the companies? Like GUI or
CLI, yeah.
command line?
Command line.
Yes.
So command line is used the most, and we will be learning on command line itself, so that you have some sort of experience with command line. Okay, we are going to start the GUI, yes, but immediately we will open this application and we will start typing the commands. Okay. Like this. So this is command line interface. Yes.
Hello, sir. How IP address is generated? It is generated from DHCP or
DHCP. Right now it is using DHCP, but you are the system admin. You can change it to manual. Okay. So graphically it is very easy. Go to settings, go to your network. Do you see network? Yes. This is the network. Click on settings, IPv4. So it is manual right now. Okay, it is manual right now. You see the IP address here? Right.
Yeah,
so this is, I have set this IP manually. But if I check automatic DHCP apply off on, now let's see what is the new IP. The new IP is 154. Now this is automatic. Okay. As you can see.
Sir, this IP is from DHCP network DHCP or VMware DHCP?
VMware DHCP.
Okay, got it.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah. So I'll teach you how to install VMware and all those things. Okay. So today we are just focusing on what is Linux actually. Okay. So as I told you, Linux operating system, Linus Torvalds started it as a open source project, and now most of the Fortune 500 companies are using Linux operating systems. Okay. All right. Hello? Yes.
Yeah, how are you?
Do you have any question? Hello?
Hi, I have one question.
Yes, please.
Two logins, right? The one was SSH, which you did with Putty. The other one,
yeah.
what is the difference between the?
See, the first one is called console login. When you access the server directly, and you get the GUI and all those things. The second method is called SSH or remote login. Okay, so right now this virtual machine is in my laptop, so that's why I can use console. I can get the GUI. It's very convenient for me. But when the servers are in different location, maybe different country altogether, let's say you're working in India but the server is in US location, so at that time the GUI access is not recommended, because you will see the graphics with lot of network lag. There will be so much of lag. The mouse cursor will be very slow. Whatever you type will be printed on the screen after like 1 or 2 seconds. So because of the network latency, you will experience delay in the console, in the graphics. So the optimum way is SSH. Okay, so using SSH you can connect to the system, and it behaves very promptly. There will be no network lag. Okay, because it is text based communication, whereas GUI, all the graphics data will be traveling through the network to your system. Okay. Yeah.
Hello, hi. I have a
Hi.
question.
Yes, please.
So you mentioned that Android OS is running on a Linux kernel, right?
Linux kernel, right?
Yeah. So Android
modified, we can say modified version of Linux kernel.
Okay, so we call the modified version of Linux as Fedora or Ubuntu, CentOS, like that, right? So when we say Android OS, how does it make difference? Does it come under any one of these distributions, or
no? This does not come under any distribution. Basically, the Linux kernel you see in your Android phone is based on the Linux project, which I just showed you as an open source. Okay, so Linux kernel is, we can say, directly taken from the Linux project and then modified according to the hardware, because obviously in your phone you don't get CPU, RAM differently. It is all part of one SoC, system on a chip, and Linux kernel, and the kernel needs to talk to SoC differently. So a different code has been written, but otherwise the whole package is the kernel, Linux kernel. Okay.
Okay, so that also acts like a distributed distribution, or
we can say it is a distribution, but again for mobile devices, obviously.
Okay, because for other network devices like switches or routers, we use a different OS and we call it as a Linux kernel.
Yeah, Linux kernel. Yeah, absolutely right. That's not a distribution because it's not a full-fledged operating system.
Okay.
It is just for the hardware management of the router, maybe switch, like that. Okay, yeah.
Yeah, thank you.
Sir, in the beginning you said kernel is a software to communicate in hardware.
Yes, right.
Basically like a communication between the software and the hardware, right?
Yeah, see, the thing is like, let's say you want to save some data on the hard disk. So if there is no bridge between you and the hardware, then how is data going to be saved on the hard disk? There has to be someone who can read the data and talk to the hardware and tell the hardware to save this data accordingly. So that thing is called kernel. That software is called kernel. Okay, so kernel is intermediate code, which is actually bridging the gap between the user and the hardware.
So just one doubt. Linus Torvald developed the kernel, right? Okay.
Yes, Linux kernel, correct.
And the other distributions, Ubuntu, Fedora, and all, they have their own kernels, or
no, kernel is the same.
Kernel is same.
Yeah,
then what difference? Then what difference is between the actual Linux and the distributions, all other distributions?
See, the actual Linux from Linus Torvalds have basic commands. Okay, it will contain the kernel and with some basic commands. Okay. So now what Red Hat has done is they have added few more commands, few more functionalities. For example, let's say more commands plus more security like SE Linux plus firewall software. Okay, like that. Plus containers.
So kernel would remain the same.
Yeah, kernel is the same. Yeah, kernel is the same. Basic commands are the same. the remaining portion, more commands, SE-Linux, firewall, and containers.
Additional
So this,
application and all we can
yeah,
say.
so this depends on the distribution to distribution.
Got it.
Like in Ubuntu, I'm not sure if they have containers as a native application in operating system. In Red Hat, container is a native application. They have embedded containers inside the operating system. Okay.
Got it, sir. Yeah.
Similarly, firewall. Yes, in 𝐊𝐲 we get the same firewall. In Ubuntu also we get the same firewall, in Kali as well. So firewall is the same. If we talk about SE-Linux, 𝐊𝐲 doesn't offer SE-Linux. They offer something else. It is called App Armor. Okay, it is called App Armor. But Red Hat is offering you SE-Linux. So again, we can say the concept is the same. The name is different. Okay. Similarly, in 𝐊𝐲, when you have to update your operating system or install something, you have to use zapper command, 𝐍𝐞𝐭𝐰𝐸R. But whereas in Red Hat Linux, you need to use yum command. Okay. So these are some very small differences. See, the bottom line is, if you learn Red Hat Linux, you learn all the other flavors. Okay, you will not struggle with any operating system. It's just you need to learn what are the changes, and those are very minimal. Maybe 2 commands, maybe 3 commands. That's it. Okay. SE-Linux is a security module. The full form is security enhanced Linux. Okay. SE-Linux is just like a, we can say, antivirus in your operating system. It is not the actual antivirus, but when the time comes, I will explain you how it works. More or less, it works like a watchman. Like you have a watchman in your building, right? No one can enter until you inform the watchman, let him come. Similarly, this is SE-Linux in the operating system, Red Hat operating system. So it's just like a watchman inside your operating system, watching everything, what is happening inside. Firewall is keeping eye on the network traffic, what to allow, what to block. Okay, firewall is related to network. SE-Linux is related to operating system internal functioning. Okay. All right. Okay. So this was about Linux operating system. Okay. And obviously, when we start the class properly, we are going to learn more things about Linux, right? So let me show you something. Like, if you are interested, if you want to create your own virtual machine, how you can do it. So let me first of all power this machine off. See, if you want to create a virtual machine in your laptop for practice, although Network Kings will offer you online labs like this, rhcs.nwkings.com. This is the URL for the online labs. When you log into the lab with your user credentials, you will get a topology like this, where you see 2 Linux servers, 2 Windows servers, 1 router is also connected. Okay. So if you start one machine, let me show it to you. So this machine is started. So you get the console on the browser. So you are getting the graphics on the browser itself. So now operating system is loading, and this operating system is CentOS, not Rhcl. Okay. Any difference between CentOS and Rhcl? No, all the commands are same. Everything is same, except one, which is subscription. In CentOS, you don't need any subscription. Just download, install, and start using it. Get the updates. You will get the timely updates without any problem. So if you have not received any credentials for labs, for this online lab, just let the team know. Drop them an email, or you can tell me as well. I will inform the team to share the credentials of the lab. So this is how it looks. Again, it is CentOS 8. Okay, you get the same things, activities, again, the same icons, same options. All right. So you can practice on the online lab as well. It is 24/7 running. But if you want to use your laptop for practice, then you have to download one software, which is called VMware Player. So VMware Player is the application which you need to install. Okay. So once you install it, see, I will go through a particular slide. Let me tell you, let me show it to you. So in the next class, I will follow this slide, Linux installation on a virtual machine. Here you will see multiple points. First point is download the ISO. Second point, download the VMware player, and then create the build the operating system, right? So I'm just jumping to the application like VMware player straight away. So when you install this VMware player, you should have your operating system ISO with you, and then click on create new virtual machine, select the ISO and click next. It will ask for your name. Let's just give a name, like you can say student. For practice, just create this user student, username also student. Confirm the password, give a password like easy password, Red Hat, confirm Red Hat. That's it. Click next, next. It is asking for how much hard disk you want to give to your virtual machine. I'm saying 20 GB. Click next, and 20 is minimum, okay? And customize the hardware. Achha, it is not showing anything. Right now it says your 2 GB of memory will be utilized. That's fine. And click finish. As soon as you click finish, your operating system will be ready in next 20 minutes. Okay. So in the next class, we will follow this slide properly. I'll tell you step by step how to create your own virtual machine, because first step is get the RHEL 8 ISO and with a 1-year developer license for free. So it's not that complicated, just a one single click and register yourself. Or if you don't want to use RHEL, you can use CentOS, but I would recommend using RHEL. Okay. For CentOS, I have given the direct ISO link. Then install the VMware player. This is the direct link, and we will check it one by one. Okay. So I'm keeping this for the next class. And do you have any questions
Sir,
till now?
Assigning more hard disk capacity or more RAM, will it make any difference when we are practicing?
See, when you're practicing, it is recommended to first of all check your existing resources. Go to Task Manager, go to Performance tab, and from here you can easily check what is going on in your system. See, this is my CPU utilization right now. If I right click and change graph to logical processors, I have 8 logical processors, which means I can easily give two logical processors to my virtual machine. Okay.
Okay.
Second is memory. I have 16 GB of RAM, out of which 6 GB is available. So which means I can easily give 3 GB, 4 GB out of the free.
Okay. No, so the question is like, if I'm giving, instead of 2, I'm giving 3 processors. So will it make any difference? Any visible difference?
Yes. Okay. It will make, yes, definitely. Okay. Yeah. So actually, virtual machine depends on the allocated hardware. So I would recommend, if just check your CPU first. If you think you have ample CPUs, like my CPU is i5 8th generation. Actually, it is 4 core. Okay, it is 4 core, and 8 logical processors means 8 threads. All right, so it's a 4 core processor. I can give 2 cores or maybe 4 logical threads to my CPU. Sorry, to my virtual machine. Then that's fine. And for the memory, I have 16 GB. Again, I can check that. Recommended is 2 GB, and we can go up to X number of GBs. Yes.
What is the requirement of RAM to run the VMware software?
Okay, so requirement is you need to have minimum of 4 GB RAM. Okay, and with the 4 GB RAM, you can use 1 GB for your virtual machine. All right.
Okay.
You know what? You can also work with a 512 MB RAM. Okay, so this I will tell you in the next class, how you can create a virtual machine with just 512 MB RAM and 1 CPU. All right. So this is actually possible. Okay, any other question regarding any topic, any topic from this table of contents or anything else?
Yeah, Hamid.
Kernel.
Yeah, Hamid, I'm Venkat.
Yes, hi Venkat.
Yeah, apart from these cores, so generally everyone is looking for coming jobs related, right? So
Yeah.
what about the feature demanding the tools in the Red Hat, what they provided? Like recently they introduced OpenShift, right? So I think you are working, you are as a automation engineer.
Yeah, right.
So what would you suggest, like after learn Rhca, so to continue with the Red Hat profile?
Okay, so let me explain you. Let me guide you with the course path, or we can say career path.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah. See, it is a very important and a practical question. What to do after Rhcsa? Let's say you completed Rhcsa, you have invested 50 hours, and you know the basics of Linux. Now what? How will you get the job? See, even with Rhcsa, you can get a job. But if you want to go into, let's say you want to pitch in for the high salary package, at that time they will be requiring, or they will be demanding some more skills from your side. So if you see, if you want to go ahead with the studies of various topics, then I would suggest you this: first Rhcsa, second Rhce, third OpenShift, and that's it. So Rhcsa means basics of Linux fundamentals. Rhce means Rhcsa plus Ansible automation, which means Linux fundamentals plus Ansible automation. And then third is OpenShift. OpenShift is container management with Kubernetes and OpenShift application. Okay. So again, it is a very, very big package, a huge skill set for a fresher. And for experience, this is again very good. Okay. For freshers, it is too much. And for experience, it is a career changing combination. Okay. You can switch your career paths with this. And trust me, OpenShift is going nowhere till the next 15 years. Okay. As you can see, every company is moving towards containers, from virtual machine to containers. You know what used to happen when we say 15 years back? Every application was hosted on a physical server. Okay. So when the VMware organization came up with the solution vSphere for the enterprise, so slowly and steadily, companies started transitioning towards virtual machines. Okay. And now with the introduction to Docker containers, so now everything is going microservices. So this is the containers, microservices, containers, one and the same thing. So OpenShift, with OpenShift, you will learn how to manage microservices, how to create microservices cluster, auto scaling, Kubernetes, reporting, everything. So it's a very good point in the DevOps chart. OpenShift is a very good tool.
What is a Docker container basically?
See, Docker is a firm which introduced containers, and container is a next level of virtualization where you can run multiple applications in a single server, and each application might be using the same port number. Okay. And they will not be, aware of each other. So it's like encapsulated environment they will be getting inside the machine. Maybe it is a physical, maybe it is a virtual. Okay, so it's next level of virtualization. Obviously, I'll teach you with the help of diagrams and all. So how things work in containers and how to, create your own container, maybe run a container like that.
Amit, so as you said in the content, so we are going to cover some containers, right?
Yes.
So it is a part of like OpenShift related or something?
No. The containers which we are going to learn is part of Rhcsa. And in that part, we are going to learn these 3 points. First, run container, or we can say manage containers. And then attach a storage to a container and run a container on a different port.
Okay.
So these are the 3 points which are a part of your Rhcsa. But if you go with OpenShift, you will learn end to end about containers, how to create a container image, how to modify the running container, how to save the current container in a new image. There are so many things. Container itself is very big. Then we have Kubernetes in OpenShift, and clustering, auto scaling. So many things are there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Of course, we'll be learning on logical volumes, physical, and all those things, right?
When we talk about storage, okay, so storage means your hard disk. So we will learn about partitioning. And then we will learn about LVMs, logical volume management. Okay, so first we will cover partitions, and then we will cover logical volume management. Just a quick brief, what is LVM? In Linux you can club multiple hard disks together to create a logical hard disk with a big size. Let's say you connect 10 GB each hard disk, 3 hard disks, you will get a logical size of 30 GB. Out of that 30 GB, you can go on creating 20 GB partition, 10 GB partition, like that. So that is LVM. And trust me, when you start working in a company, you won't be using partitions. You will be using LVM only.
Correct.
Yeah. All right. So yeah, please.
Yeah. Okay. Fine. So nowadays, mostly all tools are running on mostly either a cloud, like AWS. So if you go with AWS cloud base, still you are using LVM there, or?
See, the architecture on the cloud applications is a bit different. Okay. When we say we have a virtual server on the cloud and my application is running on that server, then yes, that in that case LVM might be used. But nowadays, you have S3 bucket, you have cloud formation in AWS, you have S3 bucket, and you have the storage, you have the database also. So you can, without even a virtual machine on the cloud, you can still have your application up and running. Okay. So there are so many things, but yes, if you are using a virtual machine on a cloud, then yes, LVM will be used.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah.
Sir, one question regarding Ansible.
Can
we use it as a networking part?
See, if you know Ansible, you can perform the network automation as well. But are we going to cover that? No, we are not going to cover that in the course. We are going to cover whatever we learn in the course, like till managing containers, everything, whatever you see here, can be automated with the help of Ansible automation. Okay, so we'll be covering this part only, not the network part. No, I mean network hardware, like routers, switches.
So Amit, if you want to go to DevOps, the RHCA is enough to manage servers like machines.
Absolutely, yeah. So if you are going towards DevOps, then Rhcsa is enough. And yes, see, again, when we say DevOps, if you say you're a DevOps engineer, then it will be expected from you that you know basics of Linux, you know some level of automation, maybe shell scripting, maybe Ansible, maybe Puppet or Chef. There are so many tools available.
Yes.
Yeah. All right. And you are required to know Git also, subversioning, right?
Yes.
At the same time, reporting tools.
Yes.
All right. There are so many tools in DevOps. So again, when we say OpenShift, most of the tools are covered. So you need to learn Git also in OpenShift. Obviously, when you're learning OpenShift, you will be learning Git as well. If you know Ansible automation, it's very good because it will help you a lot with the deployment, whatever task is there. So you can automate it. Okay. Yeah.
Thank you.
It's like that. So DevOps is a very big word. Again, it's not a technology. It is more like a culture, working culture.
Yes.
DevOps is a working culture, right?
Yeah, generally while go through all the videos in general videos and all. Right. So everyone's saying like some people are saying Ansible is important in the DevOps, and some people are saying shell scripting is a it plays more role in that part. So like that. So I confuse. So generally, which is the best as per the market industry? So to know that I'm asking.
Yeah, again, as per the market standards, first of all, focus on the basics, let's say Linux, okay, Rhcsa, because once we finish this course, you will be having Linux, you will be having container skills, you will be having shell skills and Ansible skills. Four skills will be ready to be added in your portfolio, in your resume. Okay. So next step will be now you have to decide, you want to go into Ansible dedicatedly or microservices, OpenShift,
okay, or
maybe entirely to cloud. If you have a strict focus on cloud, then you have to go with OpenStack, OpenStack. Again, it is a technology from Red Hat. Companies use OpenStack to create in-house cloud environment. Okay. So OpenStack, we can say it's a operating system for the cloud. Okay.
Like it's like not AWS related, right?
It is AWS related. AWS functions like OpenStack. If you know OpenStack, every company will, accept you. They will be happy to, onboard you.
Okay.
Because OpenStack skill is very rare these days. Nobody is, directly learning OpenStack because it requires some degree of learning. You have to learn so many new concepts. You have to implement OpenStack. You need to know all the concepts on your tips. Okay, but if you know it, by chance you clear the exam also for OpenStack. So such OpenStack resources are very rare in the industry, and demand is high.
Okay.
Yeah. So yeah, guys. So this is it for this session. In the next session, we will start with the slides, proper slides. Okay, and we will obviously start with this Linux installation on a virtual machine. We will go step by step, and we will see how we can install it. Right. Okay.
Yeah.
So yes.
After completing, sir, after completing this course, what will get the job? I mean role, job roles.
If you complete this course, if you are a fresher, you can get a job for a Linux administrator. Okay. You can become a Linux administrator, and you will be handling day-to-day jobs like system updates, maybe create a new LVM, like basic troubleshooting, user management, like that.
Hello.
Yeah.
Sir. Hello.
Yes.
Sir, when is our next lecture? That is Saturday or?
No, next class is on, I think, Wednesday or Thursday.
Okay.
You'll get an email. Okay. You'll get an email.
Okay.
Hello.
Yeah.
One more thing. And
Linux will help in.
Yeah, do we cover shell scripting also in this?
Yes, not the complete part, but yes, just enough to be able to create your basics, so that you are able to create basic scripts. Correct.
Okay.
Because as I told you, it's a 25-hour duration course, and I'm trying to cover, most of the part within like 3 hours or 2 hours, like that.
Do we create and execute those scripts?
Yes. We will take a real example, and we will work on that example. For example, update 100 servers.
Okay.
So for that, how to develop the script. We will use for loop or if statement, like that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hello?
Yes.
Sir, is Linux also hello?
Yes, please.
Yeah, is Linux also collaborate with Python?
No, it's not like that. Python language is different. Linux operating system is not based on Python, but yes, if you have Python skills, you can create a Python program inside Linux operating system for automation. Okay. So Python is also used for automation. Yeah. Ansible is based on Python. All right.
Sir, just explain Ansible.
See, Ansible is a software based on Python programming language. It is used for automating certain tasks. For example, you want to add a user on 100 servers. So you can write some steps in Ansible program, in an Ansible file, and the user will be created on all the 100 servers. Okay. If you don't know Ansible, then what will you do? You have to log into each server one by one and create the user. Okay. So let's say the servers are not 100, they're 1000. It will take you at least a week to complete the task, right? But with Ansible, this same task will be done in like 10 minutes maximum. So Ansible is just a software. You need to know how to work with that software. Okay.
Sir, is Linux will help in cybersecurity or it's help only in cloud?
Linux will help you everywhere actually in cybersecurity as well. Because when we learn Linux Rhcsa course, you will learn SE Linux, you will learn Firewall. And in cybersecurity, these are the two major components. Okay.
Okay.
One last question.
Yeah.
Linux is called as a security good from security perspective.
It's
what is
secure
the-
operating system.
How is it like?
It's secure because of SE Linux and Firewall. And the third one is the file level permissions.
Okay.
We have
we don't have to install antivirus and all kind of thing.
No, nothing required. Okay.
I have a question.
Yes, please.
We basically have two layers in the software, right? In an operating system, we call it a shell and the kernel part.
Yes.
So you said the kernel is based on the Linux, so we can modify the source code and we can create distribution on the kernel. So what will be the shell part of it?
Shell, again, shell is also open source. There are so many shell programs available in the market. The most popular shell program is bash, BASH. Okay, so Red Hat also uses bash shell as their default shell, and shell is nothing, just a program which interacts with the user. Okay, so as a user you can type the command. Shell is going to read that command and explain the command to the kernel, so that kernel can talk to the hardware. See, kernel only knows the language of hardware. So shell is going to translate the command into the language which kernel understands.
Okay, so Linux is basically a kernel, not a shell, right?
No, shell is an additional program which is used to make things understandable for kernel. And shell is also required.
Okay.
Yeah, you cannot issue a command without a shell.
Right.
Yeah. In fact, any application won't function if there is no shell, because applications also issue command in the backend, in the background. They're running some commands. So if there is no shell, kernel won't be able to understand what are those commands, what are the instructions, because kernel needs instructions in hardware language, in the language which hardware understands.
Right. Like an example, you said for Android OS, we use a Linux kernel. So there must be some shell program.
There has to be shell. Most probably it will be SH.
Okay. Got it.
Yeah. If you have by chance rooted your phone, you can get the terminal access on your phone and you can run the commands on your phone as well. So at that time you can see it is maybe it is SH shell. Okay.
Yeah.
The kernel is run on C language or?
Yes, C++. It's based on C++. Okay. All right, guys. So
how many types of shells are available presently?
Maybe 50 in the market. But see, if you're let's say you're a C program developer, right? And you have a Linux operating system based laptop, and you have to develop a program. So you would prefer C based shell program, which on which you can just type the program, and immediately your shell can also understand what are you doing. So shells are also modified as per the requirements. So for a system administrator, bash shell is the best one. For a programmer, let's say C programmer, C shell is available. You can use C shell. Okay. So likewise, there are so many shells available based on the scenario or based on the usage.
And Bourne shell also is there, right?
SH is called Bourne shell.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. SH is called Bourne shell. BASH bash. It is called Born Again shell. It is the updated version of Bourne shell.
Yeah. Okay.
So this shell comes along with the
operating system. Yes. It is the part of a basic installation. Okay. All right. Okay, guys. So this is it for today. Let's meet on the next class. Information will be emailed to you by the team. Okay, and yeah, so we'll meet next time.